Welcome back, everybody. We got another episode for you. Better You is Better Living. I am Lauren, retired Air Force veteran. I love leadership, and I'm a leadership consultant, personal trainer, entrepreneur. I love all the things to do with life.
Outdoors.
Outdoors
You love the outdoors.
Yes, that is me. Lucy, what about you?
I am an entrepreneur and a small business consultant and a lover of music and a wannabe dancer.
All right. Awesome.
Love it.
I love it.
I want to be a ballroom dancer, a competitive ballroom dancer.
Yeah, I think I saw some content that was put out the other day.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I was impressed. That was good.
I'm trying.
Go check
so
out our
awesome.
content.
Do it.
You'll see Lucy ballroom
Learning
dancing.
the waltz.
It was
So
awesome.
cool.
It was awesome.
It was fun.
I love it.
So yeah, welcome back again. Better You is Better Living, elevating your existence one episode at a time. But first, a word from our sponsor. This week's sponsor is TCH Digital Media. They are a small family-owned business, building and maintaining websites, treating your business like ours for less than the cost of a part-time employee. For $500 a month, we do our job so you can do yours. You can find them at tchdigitalmedia.com. And guys, they are awesome. Go check them out. It's literally like working with your family. Good people. Okay? Go check them out.
Thank you.
Yes. And then this episode, we are blessed
So blessed.
once again by Cami Nielson
you're so
gracing
nice.
us with her presence.
And her wisdom.
To
so nice.
impart
quit.
on us her wisdom
Oh,
and
you guys are too
knowledge.
nice.
And you too for you listeners. So yeah, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so
guys
much
are
for
too
coming
sweet.
back.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored. Again, just so fun to be with you guys. So thank you.
You know, I think we forgot to mention the last time you were here where people could find you and find a
yeah.
little
That's
bit more.
true. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
let's start
okay.
with that so
All
that we
right.
don't forget about it. I think we get so caught up in the beauty of the things that you're saying and
You're so
and
nice.
sometimes I forget to speak and I just want to let you have the mic. And so I apologize for not
No.
giving you an opportunity to share that with our listeners. But do you want to take a second and let people know where they
Sure.
can find you? And
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Cami Nielsen, and I am an entrepreneur as well. I am an author and a speaker. And so I'm the same thing, kind of passionate about understanding our brains and our bodies and how they work synergistically. And so you can find me at my Instagram is daily7_inspired. And so I share some of my thoughts there. And so it's been kind of a fun journey and just, just like everybody else trying to figure this life out. So
that's great. What about your book? Where can we find your books?
it's on Amazon. So it's called Daily 7, becoming the best version of you. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's been a minute since I've looked at it, but I wrote it quite a few years ago. There's also a journal that goes with it simultaneously. So they kind of intertwine. I kind of help you to work through the journal and how it can kind of help you to and what we're going to be talking about today, kind of live intentionally. So
that's awesome.
fun.
Tell me a little bit about the Daily 7. What's behind that?
Yeah, so, I found myself and many years ago now, I was in a place where I was constantly beating myself up, to be totally honest. I was, beating myself up, about my appearance, about I wasn't smart enough, pretty enough. I wasn't, literally, you name it. I felt like I was just not measuring up in any area of my life. And I just found myself thinking these thoughts about myself all the time. My thoughts were negative about myself, not about anyone else. It was always everybody's great, but it was you this, you that. And I just felt this negativity in my head all the time. And I got to the place where one day I was just in the fetal position in so much pain about the self-sabotaging and bullying that I was experiencing in my head about my own self. And I kind of just finally, I said the words, shut up. And I was just so tired of the noise in my head. And I finally just said those words, shut up. I'm tired of this negativity. And I remember in that moment, I'm like, I have got to figure this out. And I used to kind of just blame that on being the victim of my thoughts. And I wish I could control this. And I used to kind of, I'm a religious person, so I would just be like, Satan is in my head. Like, he needs to get out. Like, he's the problem. If he would just stop, then I could be happy. And what I found over many years is just some tools. Then I started like really praying right then. I need to figure this out. And all of this inspiration just started to come. The daily 7 is 7 steps every day, 7 things to do every single day that can help you to get to a place where I was in the depths of hell in my head to being completely empowered. And I love where I am. I love my life. I love what I've been able to create through these steps and figuring some things out. Again, this was probably 13 years ago. So it's been a hot minute since I wrote that book. And since that idea started to come. I wrote the book in 2018 and then went through some other really hard life things after that too. But I really feel like that kind of helped me prepare myself for what I was going to go through and kind of working through that. So anyways, with those 7 steps, I was able to go and kind of figure some things out. But with that, I had to choose it. I had to decide something different. I had to make a different decision. I had to shut it down and pick something different. So anyway, long story short, I've loved the journey of trying to figure this thing out, cracking the code on why do we feel the things that we do? Why do we think the things that we do? And then how can we become what we really truly are meant for? Like, our potential is so crazy big. It's so big. And I think a lot of us are kind of asleep to the fact that we are so powerful. And I think a lot of us are kind of just, we put our heads down every day and we do the daily grind and we, and that's not to say we're not all trying. All of us are trying so hard to figure it out. And, but I think the more that we can understand who we are, what our potential truly is and how to get there, that's the most empowering thing I can think of. And so that's just kind of the message that I try to share with people. And so my message has evolved over the years. My question that I would ask people, I've done speaking at, several hundred now different events. And the original question was, what is my purpose? I used to ask people, do you know what your purpose is? What is your purpose? And I think that that's a really great question. But I think it's also, there's more to it than that. There's more to it than what is my purpose, because our purpose changes from minute to day to week. It changes often. But more than that, like, who are we and what are we wanting to become? And so now I ask the question, it's even evolved a little bit deeper into, who are we really? Who are we really? And I think the word really is kind of a fun one to explore, right? And so anyway, just kind of a long story to finding out, but being intentional about asking those questions and then seeking for the answers. The answers are incredible. Yeah. The answers are amazing. And once you start asking them, you're going to get all kinds of, the people will come into your life. The books will come into your life. The podcasts will come into your life. All of a sudden, these people that you're like, where did you come from? They start to like, I really do believe that the right people come into our space at the right time, the right things, right? If we're asking the questions and we're like really hungry, they come.
That's awesome.
Right? So, I agree. That's awesome.
So I know we're going to talk a little bit about intention today. That's our topic. I want to ask you those 7 steps that you do every day. Do you still do those 7 things still to this day?
Yes, they've evolved a little bit. And so that's why I'm writing my book right now, is because in 2018, I knew what I did and I loved that person that I was then. But man, the stuff I've discovered
since then,
so fun. It gets me like giddy. And so I would add some things and take away some things. And so that's kind of what maybe I can share today too, is kind of some of those things that I would add. One of them is to connect with yourself on a daily basis. And what does that mean?
These are the seven things.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So do you think that those 7 things helped you live life more intentionally?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah.
And with that journal, that's kind of where, the setting the intention of writing something down started. So if I could kind of give anybody like a walkthrough of what that looks like, so intentionality. So what is that? Intentionality. I ask my kids on the way to school, what are your intentions today? And at first they're like, Mom, what are you even talking about? What does that question mean? My 8th grader, right? He's like, I don't know what you mean, but can you like go into that a little bit more? He's so sweet. He like tries to so the question is, where I got that from is I have a good friend at the gym that, you know who I'm talking about, a sweet friend that I see every day and I love her so much. And she will ask me before we leave at the end of the day, what are your intentions for the day? And I love that question every day. She asks me that. She's like, what are your intentions? And I'm like, ooh. So every day I kind of think about that with her. And I ask her the same thing. What are your intentions? Right. And so that might be.
Do you have room for one more in that,
yes,
circle?
You, girl, we see you there. I love it. Absolutely. What are your intentions today? Right. Because it really does ask you, like, you're like, well, I don't know. Okay. Well, what do I want? What do I want to create, right? Because we talked about this in the other podcast, but we are the creators of our life. So our intentions is that. So then I will let her know, okay, my intentions are today. So I've been at the schools with subbing in my kids' classes and helping out in the schools. And one of them is today I'm going to find the one that needs to have a little bit of extra love today. One of the students that I know is going to need a little bit more TLC. And so my intentions are finding out who that is and helping them to know how incredible they are. And then, again, these intentions are different. That's just an example. But then I also try, if I have time, to write that down. What are my intentions today? And then kind of write those down. And then with that, just kind of asking myself that question. If I'm creating my life, what does that look like? So anyway, that's where we start. And then after that, it's really being, what did I write down? Who do I want to become? What do I want to create? And then, taking action. So there's the intention and there's the action. What is the action after that? What do I want to do? What does that look like? And if that's, what do we want to do with our lives? And what I know is that all of us have so much value. If you look at every single person that you come in contact with in a day, everyone has fantastic ideas and great, their personalities, their life's experiences, their heart, their mind, their thoughts, their, all of those things. What can each person bring to the table for themselves and for other people? And what does that look like? You guys started this podcast with saying, I want to share the things that I'm learning and that other people are learning to then give back to the world. If we're consuming these amazing things, reading incredible books, listening to other people's ideas and we are consuming, I'm like, oh, I just could eat this up all day long. We were talking about pausing one book so that we can listen to another book. And then, oh, I love this. And I'm just going to consume. If we are consuming and we're just all holding it in, what are we then offering? What are we giving back? And how then does, Lucy take something that a beautiful podcast that you listen to, put then Lucy's personality, your heart, your understanding, your life's experiences, put your own spin on it and then give it back out, right? So it's never just regurgitating the same stuff. It's then taken, processed and then given back. And so I say to everyone, I'm like, tell me, give me all the things. That's why I halfway get a lift at the gym because I'm like, teach me. Like, I want to know, what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
You're exercising your mind
Exactly.
too. That's good.
This is and a little bit of the jawline, right? We're talking a lot. But it's because there are so many good people with good ideas. And the more we can circulate this stuff and that we can say, what did you learn from that? And what did you gain from that? And I love that idea. I mean, just right today we were at the gym. I saw you at the gym today, and we were talking about things, and we were talking about helping someone with, some things that they're going through. Like, how can we then, again, share what we know, share what we've learned.
Right.
And so that intention of taking and consuming, but then what can I do to give back? If that's a podcast, if that is an Instagram account, if that's a Facebook post, if that's a conversation, sending somebody a letter, like all of these things can just be, how can I take the things that I'm gaining and then add that, our value to that, spinning it and then giving it out. Like, I feel like we have like this responsibility. I really do. I feel like we have a responsibility, and maybe it's just because my heart is pulling right now to like, I'm like, but it's just so much easier if I just put my pajamas back on and just go like watch a movie, or whatever. And that's not a bad thing by any means. Absolutely not. But I think that we easily kind of get into a comfort space where we just go, thank you for letting me consume all of that. But there's reasons that we say that, then giving back can be difficult. There's a lot of reasons, right? So we have fear. Like, what if I'm judged for this? I think that's a big one. Yeah. I think it takes so much bravery to say, I want to do a podcast. That takes some bravery. Do you know what I mean?
I do know.
I'm sure you guys can attest to that. Again, like,
he makes it look easy, but yeah.
You guys are killing it, and it's amazing. But you really did have to go, how do I get the microphones? How do I get, like, it's an effort to do that.
Right,
It is going above and beyond what you would like a comfort zone. That's outside of a comfort zone. And then having spotlights and going, okay, we have to be brave and talk, right? And what are people going to think? So that's one of them. I think, again, time can be one of those things where you're like, well, I don't have time. I have a full-time job. I'm also doing this. I'm a mom. I'm a dad. We got sports. We got all the things. I don't have time for that, right? But I think that when you do put 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there and 10 minutes and 5 minutes and 20 minutes and a half an hour, then all of a sudden you've got some time to be able to put that value back out there. And I think especially like if you feel your heart going, share, like you have a story, like tell your story. I remember I had one girl ask me one time, like, what if you could share your story, what would you say? And I remember this was probably probably about 2013 or so. And she's like, if you could tell your story, what would it be? And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know what that looks like. And then since then I've gone through a whole lot of things, and now I'm like, I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. The beauty of going through, some trials and things, it really does kind of open your heart a little bit. And I think a lot of us have gone through things and it's not that we have to sit around and dwell in all of our sadness and hard things.
Right.
But I do think that the growth that you've had offers like a ton of,
right.
that.
That's
kind
where
of
it's at.
inspiration. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so then, so those are just some of kind of, I think that having that intention of what, who am I? Asking the question, what do I want to become? How do I do that? And how do I share then that with other people? How can I give back? Because what that does too is it also kind of solidifies for you some of the things that you want to share with other people. Kind of like, oh yeah, this is the growth. I can appreciate the growth, right? Yeah. Like I can see what I've gone through, and I can see how this has helped me. So
yeah. It really does reaffirm those things for yourself, the things that you've learned and the ways that you've grown. And then, like you're saying, you're giving back and helping others along their journey. And I love what you said about consuming, but then giving back, because I think one of the things that people don't always consider is they think they don't have anything to share, but it's just not true. And the reality of it is I'm going to reach someone, I'm going to connect with someone that maybe Lauren wouldn't connect with, and you're going to connect with someone that wouldn't connect with me. And we all become a very critical piece in this bridge right? Of sharing and giving and helping all of us grow and elevate our minds, our hearts, our perspectives, our joy. And so we're meant to integrate. We're meant to connect. We're meant to share. We're meant to give back. We're meant to build
Right.
around us. And so
Right.
I think that I love that you share that. And, I think, sometimes I have to remind myself of that
Yeah.
too, right? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, that person is so much more advanced and has such a greater knowledge base, or seems to have mastered something that I'm still trying to learn how to even understand, let alone conquer. And
For
so
sure.
we want to retreat and stay in our comfort zone. But there's someone that's watching me and having that same thought, and I'm thinking, okay, if I extend my hand and both directions, we can all be lifted.
Right. Well, and there's somebody that needs to hear it just from you.
Right.
There's something that
Right.
connects them to you. And
Right.
they're like, I love so-and-so's story, but there's something about you that I'm drawn to. Or there's something about you that, like, I love hearing it from you because there is a special
Right.
connection there.
Right.
Like, I heard it once said that if we were supposed to figure this out all by ourselves, we'd all be on our own little planet, like our own little planet, right? But we're not. We are all here together at the same time, right? With all of our different personalities and different strengths and gifts and like all of that stuff together. So then what can we do with all of that, right? And so it's kind of getting out of the comfort zone. And I have heard it said before that, like, people will say, well, somebody's already said that. Like,
Yeah. I said that this morning.
right? Like, somebody's already said that. So, like, what do I have to add? Like, I don't know. They've said it pretty perfect.
Yeah.
But the fact is that, right, we were kind of talking about how I'm reading like 4 books right now. They are all saying the same thing. And I love it because I'm like, oh, they said it too. Or at least pieces of it, right?
Right.
Said with a different spin, different personality, from a different angle, from their life experience. And I'm like eating it up, but it's all very similar stuff that then again kind of solidifies, like, I needed to hear that message. I love that message. That message was meant for me. It was beautiful and perfect. And it just resonates so much truth. And so it just kind of helps you to really, I don't know, soak it in.
I love it. I love it. A lot of what you said, Lucy, with, well, both of you, just the giving and everything. And it reminds me of a book I read. I just
Right.
read.
Speaking of.
Called The Go-Giver. And one of it talks about these kind of 5 laws, transitioning from being a go-getter to a go-giver, and that's how you are successful and grow in life. And one of them, they called it kind of sounds like a made-up word. It was like the law of reciprocation or something like that. And that basically the more you give, the more you're going to get. And so I love it. It just made me think of that. I love it how you mentioned that that you're kind of reaching both
Right.
ways.
Right.
And you have something to say, whether you've heard it a bunch or whatever, but you just give. And that's how these people are so successful. It's just because they're so willing to give, like what they have. And then in turn, and then it kind of makes that net or whatever that kind of
That links you together.
links everybody together
Right.
and lifts everybody at the same time.
Right.
So
We all lift together. What do you say? Rising ships,
rising tides lifts all
rising
ships.
tides lift all ships.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. And
We all
that's
rise.
exactly what it is. And I think also when you start to redefine what success looks like, right? I haven't read the book, but I would imagine that there's probably a mental shift from acquiring, right? That success in one space looks like acquiring, but what real success and joy looks like is giving.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they're the person in the book, it's like teaching, like it's almost like this. You got this young Padawan that's learning this concept, right? And this dude who is super successful in all aspects of his life is kind of teaching him by going and having him meet all these other people. They're just as successful, but they're linked together. They're all connected because they're giving. They're giving a ton. And then by the end of the book, this guy becomes, super successful and whatever because of he starts little and just starts giving those little things. But he has some of those thoughts. What would I give? Mm-hmm. I'm just this little guy that I don't know. I work in this office building, whatever. But he just little things he starts giving and changing in every aspect of his life. And in 1 year, it changes his whole entire life around.
Wow.
Because he went to giving instead of just like take, me.
Right.
And became a giver. And it just, again, tied them all together, raised everybody up. So.
Well, it's like multiplication. Like it's multiplying.
Yeah.
Because you think like if I give, then that means I'm taking something from me that I will no longer have. That's what it feels like it should be. But really, it's instead of, taking away from, it's multiplying. It doesn't take from you. It doesn't take anything from you. It just adds to you, which is cool.
It's that
How
law
cool
of
is that?
reciprocation or whatever.
Yes,
it's giving
right?
back.
Yep, the law of giving and receiving, right? Same thing, different, like just wording, but that you gain more when you give more. It is super, super cool. So yeah, if you want to receive more, give more, which is, anyway, again, it's a super cool concept. So, and all of that is just, again, adds to what we were kind of talking about in another episode, is to our joy. When you see other people succeed, like that's the hope too, is that you get to that space where you want everyone around you to succeed.
Right.
When you're like, I want you and you and you and you, and please be successful. Please. I tell my friends that have businesses, I'm like, please, I want you to be so big. I want your business to blow up so big. I want your podcast to blow up. I want your everything, your Instagram, whatever it is. I want that to blow up for you, because when you blow up, other people get a blow up too.
Yeah.
And
right.
Right?
It's true. It's true.
And so let's encourage each other. Like the more we can say, hey, like, how can I help you? What can I do to help? In fact, my same friend, she's like, how can I help your business today? Like, what can I do for your business? She has nothing to do with my business. Like my friends that they're, I close knit friends and family that are like, how can I help you in your business today? And it's the sweetest thing ever. And we're like, send us good vibes about, we've got a deal rolling right now. Can you just send me some good vibes? And intentionally, my friend will say, I'm sending you all of it right now. I'm going to send it now. What time is your meeting? It's at 10. Okay, at 10, I'm going to be thinking about you. Like, how cool is that? Yeah. So if we can be doing that for each other and being like, how can I step things up and multiply things for you? That multiplies things for yourself too. Mm-hmm. How cool is that?
It's beautiful.
It is a beautiful thing. So, and the opposite then, right? Like of intentionality and then setting goals for yourself, like looking at all the things that you can achieve. The opposite of that is complacency and quiet and stay back and be like comfortable. Like that seems like, you know what? That's too big. That's too much. It's too, which is understandable. Like it's super understandable.
Scary.
It's so scary, right? In our business, we do, fitness and different things, programs, and we have supplements and things. And with the programs that we see with a lot of our clients, they say that the statistics say that out of 100 people that do a program, only 3% achieve their goals. Only 3. So that's 3 people out of 100. Right? So maybe as a personal trainer, you see, you're like, wait, don't give up. Like I want you to, because there's a lot of fear in a lot of these taking steps forward, right? And in getting out of the complacency space. And so
out of the comfort zone.
Out of the comfort zone.
People don't like to be uncomfortable.
Right? So you kind of have to change some.
There's no growth in your comfort zone.
No, there's not. Unfortunately, we got to step it up, right? But also, thankfully we get to. So then I would encourage anyone to ask the questions, what do I want to do? And how can I get out of my comfort zone? What does that look like for me? What can I do? Like, if you feel your heart pulling you to something and maybe you don't know what that is, ask the question every single day. I have been asking the question, who am I, since 2012. In a journal every single day. You should see the stack of journals that I have. I'm not even kidding. There's a stack this big. And I've asked the question almost every single day. Who am I and what do I want to create? Who do I want to become? The questions have tweaked themselves a little bit over time. Who am I really? Right now, I start right now with I love today. My first line is I love today with exclamation points and a heart. I love heart emojis. So you'll see if I ever send you a text, it's going to have a heart emoji because I just mean it. But I love today, heart emoji. What do I want to create for my life today? And then I download. And then how can I do that?
And
what does that
all
look
of
like?
that is with pure intention.
Pure intention.
Every single question, every single answer, it's pure intention.
Pure intention.
So I got a question.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
To interrupt. Like, so when I was thinking about this the other day, and it's kind of starts with affirmations, but when for you did it really cross over to this is who I am, this is what I believe? Because I think a lot of people, they talk about affirmations, they look in the mirror, I am strong, I am, whatever.
Yeah.
When do you start believing yourself?
Right. I love this question so much because this is something I've learned in that. I've heard somebody say, you say it and then, but then sometimes we're like smiling in the mirror and we're like, I love the way I look today.
But then deep down inside, they really
you're
are like,
this feels like
no,
a lie.
I look terrible.
Right.
It's
Right.
just
a lie.
I'm just lying to myself. And so it's like, can you really look yourself in the mirror and be like, I am strong, or I do love myself?
Yes. I love this. So what happens is the more we tell a story, the more our brain catches onto it, right? So I say, like, if we're saying it consciously, our subconscious is downloading it. And over time, right, our subconscious is working even when our conscious brain is not. And so, like, before I go to bed at night, I will say affirmations. And I also say, I talk to don't call me crazy, but I talk to my subconscious brain.
Yep.
And I'm like, subconscious brain, I am so excited for what you're going to download while I sleep. In the morning, I'm excited to find out what have you come up with? What have you come up with that I can then apply to my life today? And then bring it forward to my subconscious or to my conscious mind, right? So I like to think of our subconscious as like a bank. Like we're just kind of trying to bank all of it and it's adding up and repetition is your best friend. So just keep saying it. Even if sometimes you're like, I'm trying to believe this. Like I will say affirmations every single morning on the way to the gym. I say them out loud in my car. It's about a 7 or 8 minute drive. And every morning on my way there, I say, I am brave. I am beautiful. I am strong. I am harmonious. I am happy. I love my life. I love everything that I get to learn and achieve today. I just start seriously rolling off any of the pretty words. Seriously. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like the fluffy words.
Right. Yeah.
Because the truth is that I am perfect, not that I am perfect in, right, the sense. But if we are creating our life, we are creating our life to become perfect. That's what we're that's the goal, right? So when I say I'm harmonious, am I always harmonious? No, I am definitely human and I'm not always harmonious, but I'm going to say that every day to myself. I am harmonious. I am happy. I am brave. I am strong. And then my subconscious is banking that every day. And I'm like, thank you, subconscious. Thanks for banking that. And then in the morning, I'm like, okay, what do you have to tell me about who I am today, subconscious mind? I'm excited to find out what you're going to teach me. And then in that first about half an hour a day in the morning, I will then bring it to my attention. What have I got? What have I got? What's the inspiration today? And no joke, like in the morning, I get out my journal and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I love that. That's really cool. And stuff will come. And this is, again, I've been doing this for a long, long time. And so just be patient with yourself. Repetition is your best friend, right? But also you can't say to yourself over and over and over, my life is so hard. This is so awful. I can't stand. This is not fair. But then expect that you're going to be happy and harmonious all day, right? So you cannot look in the mirror and expect something beautiful and butterflies and positive and happy if every day your lingo is life is unfair.
Right.
So,
well, that's where that intention comes in to play as well, because what you're intentionally trying to create is a life that's harmonious and a headspace where you do feel strong and you do feel beautiful and you do feel perfect and you feel inspired and empowered to go out and to continue to do the things and to think the things that, perpetuate that life that you're intentionally trying to create.
Intentionally, yes.
So let me ask you something, because I hope I can ask this in a clear and concise way. What would you say to someone? Well, okay, let me back up a little bit. So in this context of intentionally setting out to create this life, and you apply these principles that you're sharing with us, and then you go out into the world and you're looking for evidence that things are happening and that there's an actual shift in your life as a result of this work. And I think people expect, right? We shouldn't have expectations, right? We shouldn't be emotionally tied to outcomes, but it's human nature that we begin to look for evidence that these techniques, these practices are working because this showed up in my life, and this showed up in my life, and this showed up in my life. And if it doesn't show up in those ways that we might typically measure success or whatever that might be, we get frustrated. We want to throw in the towel. We say, well, it's not working. Nothing in my life is really changing. And so how would you respond to someone like that? Let's say you've been coaching them and they come to you and they say, Cammie, nothing is happening. My life is exactly the same. And I'm still right here in this job, and I'm still right here in my relationships, and I'm still right here, my bank account it's been the same. In fact, it's a little worse, Like, what would you say to someone? How would you help them identify the spaces in their life where this is actually changing and affecting their life?
I would say, what alternative do you have? First of all, right? So I understand exactly. I understand because I have been there. I've been doing this again for many, 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 many years. And there's still some things that I'm like, I'm still waiting on that. Like, I'm still kind of twiddling my thumbs going, there's a couple of things that I'm still kind of like watching for the evidence of. But having enough belief in what you're doing, just believe. And that's like a kind of a tricky concept to have too. Faith is a big word. Hope and faith. To kind of sum this up quickly, right? So faith and hope are kind of different things. Having enough faith that what you're doing is creating something, like, right? Faith is kind of the not having the evidence that anything's gonna happen, but just still believing, right? So what I would say to people is, what are the emotions that you're having if you're not doing this work? You kind of feel crappy. So either way, you're going to feel better, right? In working towards these things. One thing that's helped me a lot in this, because I totally understand. I'm waiting on a couple of things, but what I found is that having gratitude from the end, and like picturing the thing that you really, really, really want, and having gratitude for that thing before you even have it, that's what faith is. That's what the believing is going, I believe in this so big that I'm having gratitude as though I already have it. Like, have the gratitude of the thing and picture this in your mind. Our brains, again, are super powerful. And if we are actually creators and we're actually creating our life, we're saying, okay, I'm still working on it. I'm still on this journey, and honoring the journey that it is. Having the gratitude from the end and saying, I'm just going to keep believing, because I sure like having positive thoughts as opposed to negative. I sure like the way it feels to be happy about this thing, or be excited about it, or having the affirmations running through my mind that make you feel good about yourself, rather than the alternative. Because the alternative is, this isn't working. See, again, life isn't fair. Why isn't this, right? And that takes you to a crappy space. Either way, if you're looking for joy, those thoughts are going to feel so much better. So you can try on different thoughts. I say, like clothes, does this one fit? I don't like the way this fits. I'm going to try something else. Try something else on. I like the way this fits. And then still continuously, like, again, repetition, practice. This is a practice, right? And practice makes progress, and practice is part of the journey. And so I would say to people, like, just keep going.
What alternative do you
Just,
have?
like, the opposite of that is kind of feels yucky, right?
Right.
But I think the big aha I had, huge aha, was gratitude as though you already have it, because that creates a cool emotion inside of you. It creates like a cool, like, okay, I'm excited. And then you build excitement about that thing that you're creating. Like, I'm a creator, right? And then with that gratitude, it keeps you in a just a better space. Of course, there's going to be times when you're like, I still
Hanging
don't
up my
see-
hat today.
I give up. This isn't working. Like, and I am not going to lie to you. I have had many days where I'm like, well, I messed this one up big time. And I'll go to my good friend and I'm like, I am having this emotion. And she's like, well, isn't that interesting? That's perfect. You should be having that emotion. And I'm like, but I should be this and I should be that. And then anyway, it's awesome to have these. If you can have masterminds, like this right here is a mastermind of just kind of talking stuff through. If you can have somebody that you're like, let me bounce this off of you. And then, anyways, just kind of remind yourself, like, you are still going to have human experiences. No matter how much faith you have, no matter how much you believe, no matter how positive you are in your head, you are human, and we are meant to have the, like, kind of crappy times. We're meant to have it. All of it gives us experience, and all of it is so vital to be able to then keep seeking the gratitude, keep seeking the end goal, that end of, like, and keeping that vision. Keep the vision, like, hold it. Don't let it go. You got to keep that, because you are meant to have all of the things that we're, that are the great, amazing things. We live in abundance. We live in times of just incredible knowledge and understanding. And if we can keep just reaching for that, keep going, just keep going. So I hopefully that answers your question, but I say just keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
And I think, that's a little bit where that kind of that emotional resiliency comes into play, because you've got to be able to have, there are going to be those times when you dip and you're feeling like, I don't know if I want to really climb out of this one. I was in that space this morning. We got home from the gym, and my husband looked at me and said, "What's wrong?" And I said, well, how much time do you have? And I just, let all the random thoughts that were occupying my mind and bringing me down, and I found myself in this slump, and driving to work, and okay, what is my alternative? And so I think that you honor that space. I let myself, okay, I'm driving to work, and I'm in the car alone, so I can sit in the slump. But by the time I grab that door and walk through the door, I need to be in a different space. And so I think that's where some of that grit and that resiliency comes into play. And those are tools that you need to also cultivate so that you can continue to charge on.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And that trajectory is going to keep going up. Like, it's
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Every time you see any kind of this, there's a lot of downs and
right.
there's dips.
Right.
There's dips. Like, it's okay, honor the dips, because then the ups feel super good.
Right.
So,
but yeah, you stand back and you look at the, the continued climb.
The 30,000-foot view, as we would say.
Right.
And it's trending in the right direction.
Right.
You zoom in real close and you'll be like this.
Yes.
Have both of you seen
upward.
where someone rolls the marbles down?
Yes.
So there's the straight downhill slope,
it's
I
a
think.
straight path, and
then
the
there's
wavy one.
and this up and down and up and down and up and down wins every time. And so it's I forget how they phrase it. I'm gonna ruin it. It's very poetic on Instagram, but it won't be today. Apologies. But just this up and down builds the momentum at a far greater speed and overall impact than just a straight shot.
Love that.
And so, right, it's that ebb and flow that really does help you to thrive.
For sure. And then if you could look back too and be like, whoa, look at how far I've come.
Right.
Always. Like,
Right.
look at that gain. If you've ever read The Gap and the Gain, that book is amazing. And it talks about like focusing on the gain, like how far you've come, not all the things that you're not doing and that aren't happening and whatever. Focus on how far you've come. Look at what you've learned. Look at your growth. Look at your, again, just the beautiful things that have happened in your experience that have given you the experience that life is literally about. So it's all beautiful.
I love it.
That's great. Man, we could go on forever.
I know. I love. You
We
love
really
talking, you
could.
guys. You're awesome.
This is really great.
I'm like,
Lots of
okay,
good
we need to
stuff.
have her back because I want to talk to her about grit.
I know. There's so,
Grit is
so
a
many
good one.
things. So
I
many
love
things.
grit. I do.
So
I
what
love that
could be
topic.
the one thing that you would say about like living an intentional life that you could leave
Our
with
call
our
to
listeners?
action.
Either
Call to action.
call to action or just one good thing that could help people live with more intention.
I would say maybe a couple of things. I do think affirmations are super, super powerful. And I would say just start adding to your bank. Add to your bank every day. Like in the opportunities that you have to. Start saying the things that you want to create. Like what you say today is what you're going to become tomorrow, right? So make sure that you're choosy about those things. Add to your bank the things that you want, right? And then maybe another thing would be to kind of intentionally in the morning write down what it is. You can have an intentional buddy.
That's a good idea.
Find an intentional buddy. Be like, what are your intentions today? You
love
could
it.
even text somebody. Like, what are your intentions today?
It's like
If
a
you have
calling
another-
tree.
Right?
Yep.
Right? Like, what do you want to do with your life today? I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what you're going to do today. How cool and powerful would that be to give that to a friend? I can't wait to see what you're going to do today. It's going to be so good. Like, you text me later. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and have an intentional buddy. I think that would be the other kind of like, find somebody again, I say this to my kids on the way to school. And the other day, my son said, I'm going to make somebody laugh today. I'm like, I love it so much. That's beautiful. He's an 8th grader. I'm like, so buddy, how'd that go? He's like, I nailed it. I'm like, good. Let's go.
I love that it
Yeah.
can even just be something so small, right? It's such a big question. And so I think, I've got to give this massive,
No.
powerful answer. No, it doesn't need to be. I mean, making someone laugh, you have no idea what that might have done for
Totally.
that person.
Totally. I tell him making me laugh is one of
Yeah.
the biggest highlights of my day.
Yeah.
And he told me one of his intentions is to make me laugh. And every day I'm like, buddy, you bring so much joy into my life. I cannot contain it. So he's living intentionally. How
love
cool
it.
is that?
That's awesome. And,
So-
and it's such a young age.
Yep.
Like,
Let's
that's
go.
awesome.
Let's go.
That is awesome.
Love it. Thank you so
So,
much.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I love it. You guys are amazing. So thank
Yeah,
you.
It's been real great. So go out there, live with intention.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right. And then intentionally go give us a review.
Yes. There's the plug.
Yeah. Give us a review, whatever you're listening on. That helps us keep this show going. So thank you. Appreciate y'all listening. I'm Lauren.
I'm Lucy.
Better use, better living.